All right. Well, thank you all for joining us. We could have more people coming in as they grab their lunch, but welcome here to the presentation. It's my absolute pleasure to introduce a couple of folks to us today. First off, Dylan Morin. He's been involved in the travel training program since 2017. When Lynette Griffin, who was the director of paratransit and accessibility, thank you, Dylan, approached Creative Options Regina, Dylan was eager to get involved and was one of the first trainers. It's 7 years later and the program's still going strong. He has Ben Morris, who since 2015 has worn many hats at Creative Options Regina, or CORE, from Director of Storytelling to Creative Director. That current title wouldn't fit Ben better. Having a talent of looking to ways to develop unique solutions, Ben truly has a lasting impact on everyone he meets. Obtaining an arts degree from the U of R, he has continued to share what inspires him through the CORE studio while developing lasting and meaningful relationships with everyone at CORE. And I know that Dylan is very excited to have Ben with him. So Dylan, the floor is yours.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for coming to join my presentation today. As Mindy had said, my name is Dylan Morin, and I am the travel Thank you. I am the travel trainer for Creative Options Regina, and I'm here to talk to you about my presentation. Next slide, please. Overview. The travel training program was piloted by Lynette Griffin, who mentioned it was with the director of paratransit and accessibility at the time. Lynette saw a need that paratransit was overoccupied. So she thought of trying to get people with intellectual disabilities to not eliminate themselves from paratransit, but try and get them to use the paratransit, because people with intellectual disabilities were afraid of getting lost. And that's how the travel training program was born. Next. Oh. Okay, we have 4 phases of travel training. Phase 1, we give you guys an introductory and orientation of the program. Phase 2, we take you for a ride and let you get a feel of the bus. I know I took one of you guys for a ride, I'm not going to mention your name, and we actually had a good time. Phase 3, the one thing I should mention, we move at the pace of the trainee. We move at the pace of the trainee who is getting trained. So if you need to stay at phase 2 and get more into taking the bus, we'll let you do that. Phase 3, you show us what you learned, and you could go at phase 3 as many times as you want. Phase 4, you take over the whole ride, which means we sit at the back, or what we have done in the past, we'll drive separately to watch you take the bus, watch that individual take the bus. How you could get involved. Sorry about that, I just have to check. Perfect. So I want to encourage agencies to take the city bus with the individuals that can't take the city bus independently. Why, you might ask? It gives those individuals that don't ride the city bus more exposure to community. It's better for the environment, and it could also be a cost savings to your agency. And the biggest one that I'm proud of is it gives more individuals exposure to community because it shows the community belonging. It shows the community, I could ride the bus, I love riding the bus. And if you do it, those individuals may not like it at first, but I learned that CANT is certainly not trying. I'm not trying to say it to be bossy. If I am, please talk to me after this presentation. By the numbers. 43.9 of participants that went through the travel training program have graduated the travel training program and are taking city transit successfully. I should admit myself, I take city transit unless it's really cold or icy, and at night, I do use paratransit. And that's a lot. That's a good number, and I don't know the numbers at first, but when we saw results, then Lynette Griffin said the travel training program could go on. Okay, now we have a little video of how the 4 phases, and this is a video back from 2017. Then Tamara Jackson, Chippendale, the executive director of Chippendale Homes, is going to come up and we're going to share a success story.
Program is a step-by-step process that works at the pace of the training. The first phase of the program is the pre-work stage. This is where the trainer and individual being trained need to create a personalized travel plan for the trainee. They will brainstorm a list of common destinations that the trainee would like to come. In the next phase of the program, the trainer will demonstrate how to plan a trip, either using a printed route map or by using Transit Live and Trip Planner. Transit Live offers real-time schedule information on all City of Regina buses to allow users to track exact location of all city buses. During this phase, the trainer will help the trainee fill out the trip planning worksheet, which lists all the travel information that will be needed throughout the trip, such as the bus stop and route information, pickup and arrival times, and identify landmarks. The trainer will then take the trainee out for a hands-on bus experience where they will describe and demonstrate proper pedestrian safety. Once at the bus stop, the trainer will explain how to read the bus stop sign and how to check arrival time by either texting or calling the ride line or by using Transit Live on a mobile device. The trainer will be in control of this ride and encourage the trainee to learn about their chosen route and get a feel for the bus. They will also learn about how to pay for bus fares, bus and travel safety, and have any other questions they might have answered.
It's like close to the bus driver, because if you feel like you're lost, you can always ask the peek around and ask the bus driver where to go.
As the bus gets closer to the desired destination, the trainer will help identify landmarks and point out audio and visual cues to determine when they should be getting off and will show how to signal the bus driver for that stop. If the trainee is not feeling comfortable moving into the next phase of their training, they can remain in this phase until they feel confident. In the next phase, the trainer will let the trainee take the lead on their trip to demonstrate all the new skills learned in the previous phase. At the end of the trip, the trainer will provide feedback and coaching with all areas of concern. Remember, the trainee moves at their own pace. There's no pressure to advance into training. Once the trainee feels comfortable, they will move into the final stage. Here, the trainee will show that they can ride the bus on his or her own. The trainer will meet the trainee at an agreed starting point and make sure they get on the bus independently. The trainer will then meet the trainee at the final destination, allowing them to demonstrate all their new skills. Once they complete this step and feel comfortable, they will graduate the program. It is important to remember that there is no time limit when it comes to this program. The trainer will stay with you in each phase until you feel comfortable with moving to the next phase. Another cool feature of the program is during your training, bus fare is free. Upon completing the program, you will receive some City of Regina swag. Happy traveling!
Dylan, I have a question.
Oh, I will wait for questions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I just have to remember my
What's your name again?
Marty.
Morin. Okay, so before I call up Mayor Jackson, I did want to mention that all city buses are wheelchair accessible. They have room for 2 wheelchairs. I'll let you ask one more after we're done. And if there are anybody from Saskatoon here, Saskatoon has a travel training program that they do in-house. And now, I would like to call up Mayor Jackson, Executive Director of Chippendale Homes, to talk about a success story. Let me see how I could share the mic.
I'll just talk really loud, Dylan. And when Dylan says if he's bossy, let him know. Dylan's just passionate about many things. So Dylan had come to our agency and many of the agencies in Regina to challenge us to use the city bus more. But prior to that, he had also brought information about the city bus training to our agency. And we have a couple ladies that pretty much use city bus all the time. They love it. They always say how independent they are to be able to go on the bus. They plan their routes. The City of Regina has a really great app that you can use to plan your routes, what stops you need, all of that kind of thing. That's part of the training that Dylan and other offers as well, is how the app works. Yep.
Could I ask you a question?
Of course.
When you first told Paige and Pagan about the travel training program, what was their reaction?
Oh gosh, it's quite a while ago now. I think they were excited but nervous. At our agency, we're really fortunate that we prioritize fundraising for vehicles. So we do have vehicles in all of our homes right now. And they had kind of used those vehicles most of their life. So I think there was a little bit of nervousness there, but they're also 2 ladies who really want to build independence in all areas of their life. So I think they were excited as well. Would you say that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So now, as was mentioned before, they take a combination of city bus and paratransit. So in the area where they live, unfortunately, not all of the sidewalks or the roads are cleared really well in winter. So it becomes kind of dangerous at a certain point in the winter, where if they're trying to get to the city bus, they're in the middle of the road. So a couple of years ago, we had a concerned neighbor call me and say, you know what, like I'm just nervous that, you know, they're in the middle of the road. And she goes, I've called the city to clear, and and all of that. So usually in the winter, they take para more frequently, but as soon as it's safe passage to the bus, they love the bus. They go on it independently. They're not here today because they're both at the university and busy, but they, actually I got a call last week that said, Tamara, somebody wanted to take the van to my appointment and I didn't want to do that. So I said, well, remember, I think that it was on a Saturday or Sunday, and the hours weren't great for them. So
Saturday service is okay.
Sunday is a little bit less. So
yeah.
I just reminded them, you know what, like it's just the timing thing. It's not that we want to take that away from you, but we just thought it might be better on this day. So they're always really, really excited to be able to use the bus, and it's just increased their independence incredibly. So.
102. You have 10 minutes.
Okay, perfect.
Are you done with me?
If you want to say anything more, go ahead.
No, I just think that, and Dylan, like I said, he challenged many of our organizations to increase our bus usage, and we do use the bus. Some of our folks who maybe couldn't do the bus independently, they do go with staff, and our day program uses the bus on occasion as well. And as Dylan said, every city bus can hold 2 wheelchairs. They also have auditory cues for people who may be vision impaired, and have done a great job with increasing the accessibility overall. So, yeah, thanks, Dylan.
Now I would like to call up my partner in crime, Ben Morris, to answer any questions. And Marnie, the floor is yours.
My initial question was about if all of the wheelchairs are wheelchair, or all of the buses are wheelchair accessible now, because there was a point where they weren't. But
yes, they are.
Are we still using short buses in any of the neighborhoods that would be later in the evenings? Like there was a point where in my neighborhood they had dropped the bus sizes because they just weren't getting the ridership, right?
You know what?
So then are those wheelchair accessible or not?
I don't believe they are, but I'll give you the number 2 transit, and we could call and ask that question.
Okay, I can call them. I was just curious if you knew.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yep.
How many travel trailers are there? I know you're one.
Currently 2.
Currently 2, and we've had as many as 4 at one point, but we ultimately don't have that much prescription for the service as for enforcement.
And Amy.
Well, first of all, thanks for sharing. This is a fantastic initiative that I didn't know a lot about. I have kind of a 2-part question. Number 1, the partnership with the City of Regina. How was that established, and has there been some things that have worked really, really well, or certain things that maybe haven't? And then the second part of my question, do the bus drivers go through any type of training on diverse riders and their abilities?
I will let Ben answer the second part of the question, but most bus drivers are okay. We do encourage our trainees not to give up, but to call Service Regina if they have complaints, and that complaint is dealt with. Ben?
So I'm going to go with the first question. It was the partnership.
Yeah.
Partnership between ourselves and the city has been quite good. They fund the position, so they pay for Dylan's position, and then to fulfill the coordination of all the rides, we generally work in partnership with the U of R through the kinesiology program. One of the students does a practicum with us in the studio. So then that partnership helps out, and I oversee that partnership and make sure that all the things are being accomplished and achieved on both of our ends, and so then the partnership stays strong. As far as like from a numbers perspective, I mean, it's beneficial for the city of Regina to do this. When we started this program up, it was a round trip for one paratransit ride for one person is a $25 cost for the city. Okay, and so then if you turn that around and look at what conventional transit costs, that's a $5 round trip per person. And so that saves the city $20. And so if you've noticed in the past, those buses, like, I don't actually know the answer to those like smaller buses, but I do know that we've managed to get some of the bigger buses for the heavier routes, those express routes with like the two and then like that accordion in the middle. Those dollars that the city's been saving is going directly back into supporting programs like that. They 2 years ago, I believe they bought 2 new paratransit buses just with the cost savings alone from this program. So.
And then sort of just to follow up on that, the drivers, do they take any training?
Yeah, so this is the most complicated thing that we probably deal with. You'd think it's like getting the routes figured out. It's just making sure that all the new drivers and all the drivers are on board and understand what's happening. Because every week or at least every month we come with, we hear, I was unable to get on the bus because they have a specific language that they use with the attendant. They didn't believe I was an attendant. They didn't understand why I didn't have my own fare, that kind of stuff. But ultimately, the bus drivers are trained in this. They know what's going on for the most part, unless they've like missed that training or something like that. But if we have any issues with we just call it in, and like I don't think anyone gets in a whole lot of trouble. They just say, "Yo, this is the case." So.
Yeah, it's good though that the drivers, because they would be a support connection on that bus, right? As the kind of the leader of the bus.
Absolutely.
And so you need to have that, have them understand their role.
Yeah, and
ensuring a safe and positive ride.
100%. And then one of the key safety features that like Dylan's been trained in, and he's training anyone who kind of learns this practice, is sit close to the front, because that bus driver knows, right? And if you're like lost and you didn't see your landmark, well, the bus driver knows how to get you to the next spot, right? So ultimately, they're in the know for the most part. There are always problems, but that's the same with anything. So good questions.
Anybody else? Yeah.
I have one for you, Jill. Now, you've been doing this for a good number of years.
Yeah.
Like anything else, if I was somebody new, would you ever get nervous when a new trainee is coming on board and wanting to learn?
Depends on the trainee. I always want to give the best information I can. I don't want to leave anything out. Sometimes yes, but mostly no.
So what is the cost to, like, is there a cost that the person who's taking the program pays, or do they just pay a fare?
Nope.
Do you have to pay?
It's
Is it
completely
all
free. It's completely free, and Ben could attest to that.
Yeah. No, you're 100% right. It's completely free. The way it works out is part of the cost that the city eats is the cost of that ride. But what was I going to tell you? There's something super important attached to this. Can't remember. But I opened this slide again just because it's super important. You see numbers like that and you're like 18 out of 41. It's not that good. But if you think about that, break it down. That's any percentage on the upward swing of not the negatives is a good percentage, right? That's that many people. And so I bring this slide up probably to people who are preaching from the choir that, that any number above 0 is a better number, right? So.
Well, and if you think about that with paratransit, you're taking that amount of pressure off of paratransit for the other folks that need it too. So.
And paratransit is a difficult system to deal with. Like, it's horrible to get on.
I think it's fabulous too that we're bringing communities together.
Yeah.
And people of all backgrounds and abilities are taking something that we all need at all times and probably building some relationships on those buses.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what to say.
First off, I wanted to say I did have Candace from Triple C on a bus.
You said
and
you weren't going to say any names, Dylan.
I asked her permission. I wouldn't if I didn't ask permission. And what was your experience when we went on a ride?
You know, well, I'll talk on our agency point. So you initially had approached the agency with bus training, and
Come on up.
Okay.
If you feel comfortable.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, Dylan had approached our agency about bus training, and he had taken quite a few of our individuals along with support staff for rides. And you know, at that point, we would contact Ben and get a time limit, and the whole process was amazing, right? Our individuals that persisted through were able to gain the knowledge, and then just Dylan was very knowledgeable. It was a really great experience. And some of the individuals that didn't persist, it was mostly due to not wanting to take the bus. So they enjoyed the rides more, but it was a great experience, and I enjoyed my ride.
It would definitely decrease the number of silk hours used, because that's what we
Okay.
use silk hours for, right?
So I'll let Ben comment now.
100%. That's a great comment. Like, probably one of the biggest downfalls of the program, just to show the cards right now, is sometimes the time it takes to get back to you. The capacity that we have, it's like ebbs and flows. Like I said, we don't have enough business for 4 people, but sometimes that we do, you know what I mean? And so the time that it takes, we'll say, okay, you're on the waiting list, and that doesn't change. You're on the waiting list, and we do get to you. But I talked to somebody actually on the phone just recently. Sorry, I got my mouth on this thing. And just like last week, and they're like, "Oh, I thought you forgot about us." And I'm like, "No, like it's 3 months ago, like that they got put on the waiting list." So it's not a fast process, but also like with a program that moves at the pace of the person who's riding, it's hard to really say, knock down a date and say, okay, we're gonna be done by this point. You know, it's hard. So.
Any other questions? Okay, going once, going twice.
I guess it's not a question, but one thing you asked me about was cost saving to the agency,
Yeah.
which I've never figured out. But if we look at our 2 ladies who are using the bus system regularly, who go to the university, you know, 4 or 5 times a week, and various other activities, they live on the opposite end of town. So there is a significant saving there in terms of, you know, them getting to the university and back home and all of that. I've never figured out the numbers, but.
Before we wrap up, I just wanted to say a special thank you to Ben Morris. He wouldn't be where we are today because of Ben. So kudos to Ben.
Well, there might be kudos to Ben, but there's also kudos to Dylan, because we know when Dylan gets behind something, it happens, right? Dylan, you're very passionate about many things, including the travel program here in Regina. You should be very proud of that. That's a fabulous accomplishment. And you know what? I really learned a lot today. I didn't know much about the program. I knew you were a trainer. So thank you very much for spending the time with us. We do appreciate it. And thank you everyone for joining us today. So great job, Dylan and Ben, and Tamara and Candace. Thank you.